It was the summer of the year 1940. By then, Hitler and the Nazis have already conquered most of Europe and its colonies, all but one, Britain. The only obstacle standing between Hitler getting to Britain was the English Channel. That was when Hitler decided that he needed to rule over the skies.
Oh no, we need help from the RCAF.
Have no fear, the RCAF is here.
Canada also had its own Air Force called Royal Canadian Air Force, siding with RAF. For the first few months of war, RCAF had 15 squadrons, of which 12 squadrons stayed for home defense and 3 for overseas. In the end, the BCATP had trained over an astounding 130,000 crew members, 80,000 ground crew, and approximately 17,000 in the women divisions. The British Commonwealth Air Training Program, or BCATP, is a massive training school grounds for pilots and crew members. It was created by Canada, United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Australia to defeat the Germans in World War II. The BCATP was planned on October 10, 1939, and then carried throughout December 17, 1939, when an agreement called the Air Training Agreement between the governments had been signed. The agreement called for each government to contribute a number of aircrew members for BCATP each year. For the first few breakouts of war, Ottawa, Canada was primarily the training grounds for pilots and crewmen because Canada had wide open space, sufficient materials and supplies, and was far away from any enemy attacks.
After the successful invasion of France, it was Britain's turn. The Battle of Britain took place over the cloudy skies of the English Channel, where Hitler wanted to attack Britain's airfields and radar stations. This was also known as Operation Sea Lion, Germany's coded name for the invasion plan. During one of the night raids from Germany, the Luftwaffe lost track of the trail along the Thames River and accidentally bombed London. Britain became infuriated and retaliated by attacking Berlin, Germany, known as the Blitz. The Royal Canadian Air Force had already joined the RAF by this time and had the benefit of using radars to detect approaching aircraft. The bomber squadron of the RCAF contributed by attacking German air bases, gun positions, rail and road traffic, and military headquarters in France after the invasion. During mid-1943, the RCAF flew the Lancaster and Halifax bombers and dropped endless high explosives in Ruhr, as well as German civilians in Hamburg, Frankfurt, and Berlin. At 8 a.m. on December 7, 1941, the first wave of Japanese warplanes appeared in the sky over Pearl Harbor and began bombing their targets. A few hours after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Japan began its invasion of Hong Kong. Canadian troops heard the wailing of air raid sirens less than 2. Southeast Asia Command had 2 transport and 1 coastal squadron involved. The coastal squadron was in charge of preventing Ceylon from being invaded by Japan. The transport squadron created in India helped the British 14th Army in India-Burma. The Home War Establishment was created for home defense during the war. There were 2 commands within the Home War Establishment that were located on the east and west coast of Canada, the Western Air Command and the Eastern Air Command. The Home War Establishment fielded 37 squadrons for coastal defense against enemy attacks as well as protecting Allied shipping. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, more squadrons were sent westwards. The African, Mediterranean, and Middle East theaters included battles fought within the Navy, land, and air. Campaigns were fought between the Allied and Axis forces in the Mediterranean basin, the Middle East, and Africa. The fighting happened from June 10, 1940 to May 2, 1945, when the Allied Axis forces in Italy surrendered at the end of World War II. By the end of the war, the RCAF had 78 squadrons. 43 were retained in Canada for home defense. Over 7,000 Canadian airmen participated in both the RCAF and the RAF. Canada was then the fourth largest Allied force of 232,632 men and 17,030 women.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.